Here are today's top stories. No nationwide martial law. That's Malacanang's assurance after President Rodrigo Duterte ordered the police to go after tambays or late-night bystanders on streets. The Supreme Court dismisses PCGG's petition to claim damages against the Marcos family and its cronies. Malacanang orders the gathering of possible evidence on the billion-peso barangay health station anomaly. And the NCAA shifts to an all-Filipino league prohibiting foreign student players starting 2020. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Malacanang denies speculations of martial law taking effect in the guise of the arrest of loiterers. The palace also reiterates the directive to respect the law and protect the human rights of loiterers. Here is our report.
Malacanang allayed fears that the anti-tambay or bystander drive of the Philippine National Police would be a prelude to nationwide martial law. The PNP's new anti-crime strategy is part of its efforts to ensure that the public feels safer through police visibility. Presidential spokesperson Jaime Roque said martial law is currently imposed in Mindanao and that there was no need to expand its coverage to Luzon and Visayas. Roque reiterated that Duterte himself has no intentions of declaring martial law since it would be complicated to do so in the entire country. Roque meanwhile stressed that police officers will only apprehend or arrest bystanders when they have legal basis to do so. He said those who will be accosted are those that violate the ordinances and those who drink and gamble in the streets. He also said that there were legal remedies available for those arrested without basis. In Makati City, 2 cops were relieved for failing to properly implement Duterte's directive against tambay or loiterers. Makati City Police Station PCP-6 Commander Police Senior Inspector Aaron Ilago and SPO2 James Tiano, Desk Officer of Makati PCP-7, were ordered placed in the Administrative Holding Section for abuse of authority. Ilago and Tiano are in hot water following an online account narrating their alleged abuse of authority in rounding up loiterers in their areas even without any violation of city ordinances. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cabe.
Solicitor General Jose Calida hails the Supreme Court's decision to affirm the ouster of former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno as a triumph of justice. Calida says the decision to uphold his quo warranto petition proves that no one is above the law. Earlier, Calida said the removal of Sereno has maintained the stability and integrity of the judiciary. Calida also asked the Filipinos to continue the fight against those who intend to undermine the stability and integrity of the government as a whole. Meanwhile, Sereno vowed to continue to be a strong voice in defending the country's laws and democratic institutions and in exacting accountability from people in government. Sereno says the Constitution will be the Filipinos' moral compass towards genuine democracy and social justice. Jojo Lacanilao, Sereno's spokesperson, says they are not surprised by the High Court's decision. The Supreme Court has barred the Presidential Commission on Good Governance from collecting damages from the Marcos estate and his alleged cronies. More on this from Benj Mondo.
The Supreme Court junked the appeal of the Presidential Commission on Good Government or PCGG to collect 51 billion pesos in damages from the estate of the late former President Ferdinand Marcos and his cronies who allegedly connived to acquire ill-gotten wealth through behest loans. The SC's First Division affirmed the decision of the Sandigan Bayan, which dismissed the complaint for reconveyance, reversion, restitution, and damages filed by the PCGG for insufficiency of evidence. The SC agreed with the Sandigan Bayan when it said the PCGG lacked evidence against the Marcoses and their alleged cronies. The SC held that it cannot rule on PCGG's claim that it has established prima facie case against the respondents. In its complaint filed 31 years ago, the PCGG claimed that the Marcoses and their alleged cronies schemed to acquire assets illegally. The PCGG specifically accused former construction magnate Rodolfo Cuenca and the Marcoses of conniving to create the Construction and Development Corporation of the Philippines, now the Philippine National Construction Corporation, as well as other corporations. Based on the complaint, the CDCP obtained favored public works contracts amounting to billions of pesos under terms and conditions disadvantageous to the government. Furthermore, the PCGG said that the CDCP secured loans and financial assistance from government financial institutions without sufficient collateral. The Sandigan Bayan explained that executive issuances are not illegal per se, considering that every public official is entitled to presumption of good faith in the discharge of official duties. The anti-graft court further declared that in the absence of bad faith and malice, the presumption of regularity in the performance of official duties stands. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondok.
The growing number of deaths among the police during operations is a sign that drug suspects are fighting back. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde says 48 cops have been killed while about 100 were wounded since the PNP joined the war on drugs. He maintains that police who kill drug suspects during operations only end up doing so out of self-defense. Albayalde made this remark during the wake of Police Senior Inspector Michael Angelo Tubanya, Chief of Police of Malig, Isabela. Tubanya was shot dead by a suspect during an anti-drug operation last Sunday. Albayalde posthumously conferred the PNP Medal of Honor to Tubanya. Despite his tirades against the Catholic Church, President Rodrigo Duterte should not be treated as an enemy of the clergy. Special Assistant to the President Secretary Bongo gave this assurance during the kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas General Membership Meeting. Go says the President is disturbed by the recent crimes against priests, where 3 members of the clergy have already been killed. He says the President is ready to offer protection to priests in danger through the PNP. Go says President Duterte's harsh words towards church leaders are brought by his desire for no one to interfere with his work. He also adds that the President prefers to stick to his role in the government while the church does the same. Still to come, Malacanang orders the gathering of possible evidence on the billion-peso barangay health station anomaly. The Taiwanese Coast Guard rescues 2 Filipino fishermen stranded in Batanes. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Malaki ang maitutulong ng freedom of information sa katiwalian ng gobyerno kasi halos lahat ng government transactions ay pwedeng tanungin ng publiko. Mawawala yung katiwalian.
Malaki maitutulong ng FOI na una sa lahat, mabigyan ng oportunidad ang mga tao na makita yung transparency sa gobyerno.
Ang freedom of information ay nakatulong para sumpuin ang katiwalian sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng mga impormasyon tungkol sa mga transaksyon sa gobyerno, pagbibigay ng impormasyon sa masa para alam nila kung saan napupunta yung mga pera ginugugol ng ating mga government official, mga ahensya natin. Kasi ang masa naman ang bumubuhay sa mga ito sa pamamagitan ng pagbabayad ng mga tax. At saka sila rin naman ang pinagsisilbihan ng gobyerno.
Lahat ng Pilipino ay may karapatan sa impormasyon galing sa gobyerno. Kapag alam natin yung nangyayari sa government, mas magiging accountable ang mga inihalal natin mga government officials. So, with those information, we can fight corruption because there's transparency. And then, dapat yung scope ng pagbibigay ng information is hindi limitado lamang kapag maapektuhan yung seguridad ng government. But aside from that, dapat lahat ng information ibigay nila.
Malacanang has ordered Health Secretary Francisco Duque to report regarding the alleged 8.1 billion peso barangay health station project anomaly. The palace ordered Duque to submit evidence about the project that was launched during the Aquino administration. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says the evidence that will be gathered may be used to file the appropriate charges. The said documents may be submitted to the Sandigan Bayan or the Office of the Ombudsman if needed. Roque reiterates that President Duterte is serious about his campaign against corruption. The Barangay Health Station project involves the establishment of 5,700 stations with a budget of 8.1 billion pesos. However, the project remains unfinished. Voters' registration for the May 13, 2019 national and local polls will resume in July next month. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez said the registration will be from July 2 to September 29. Jimenez said the city, district, and municipality offices of election officers will be open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Saturday, including holidays, to accept registrants. Applications such as new registration, transfer with reactivation, change and correction of entry and inclusion in the list of voters will be accepted during the more than 2-month activity. Jimenez said there will, however, be no registrations in Marawi City due to the situation in the area. COMELEC will also conduct satellite registration during the period, with preference given to members of the vulnerable sector, such as indigenous peoples, senior citizens, and pregnant women. The government is warned about the need to prevent further delays in paving the way to the entry of a third telecommunications company in the country. More on this from Miguel Hill.
Senator Aquilino Pimentel III scored the delays in government's efforts to bring in a third telecommunications player in the country. The delay was reportedly caused by the failure of the Oversight Committee for the entry of a new major player in the public telecommunications market to approve the terms of preference for the selection and assignment of radio frequencies for the new telco. President Duterte earlier emphasized that the entry of a third player in the telco industry is a matter of paramount national interest and had to be undertaken in an integrated and transparent manner. Pimentel said the failure of the Oversight Committee to finalize the TOR over 2 months after it was formed is extremely disappointing. He stressed the pressing need to break the telecommunications duopoly, encourage competition in the industry, and improve services. The chair of the Senate Committee on Trade, Commerce, and Entrepreneurship also expressed concern that the business community might also get discouraged by the pace at which the agencies involved were proceeding with the drafting of the TOR. He said that this is more so, especially in light of the government's commitment to make it easier for investors to do business in the country, as reflected in the passage of the Ease of Doing Business law. The president of the ruling PDP party urged the Department of Information and Communications Technology and other members of the oversight panel to get their acts together to hasten the entry of a third telco player. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
2 Filipino fishermen who were drifting at sea for 7 days were rescued by a Taiwanese fishing vessel 75 nautical miles northeast of Batanes. Fishers Gilbert Takaya and Romnick Rivera, both residents of Barangay Minabel, Camiguin Island, went fishing at the northeastern part of Camiguin Island on June 11. The two encountered engine trouble, causing them to drift northeast of Yami Island, also known as Mavulis Island, where they stayed afloat for 7 days. They were then rescued by the Taiwanese fishing vessel Juin Fuoxing on June 17 and then turned over to the Taiwan Coast Guard. The two were then brought to the Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG. In a statement, the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office said the rescue reflects Taiwan's goodwill and friendship towards the Philippines. It is said that furnishing a safe environment and rescuing those in distress with each other's waters were the common goal of both countries. The Provincial Board of Benguet seeks to block a request to collect the cost incurred from damages on transmission lines caused by Typhoon Nina from electricity customers in Luzon. The National Grid Corporation of the Philippines seeks to recover more than 327 million pesos for the repair of transmission lines damaged by the typhoon in 2016. For this, the NGP filed a force majeure event pass declaring Typhoon Nina as an unavoidable event, which gives them a valid reason to impose additional charges. The NGCP justified further that the state transmission firm needs to immediately recover the amount so it could continue providing efficient service to the grid customers. But Provincial Board member Nestor Fongwan Jr. decried NGCP's inability to inform the province that the consumers on its application to the Energy Regulatory Commission or ERC. Fongwan said Benguet was spared of the wrath of Typhoon Nina, which was the strongest cyclone to hit Bicol in 10 years. Up next, the Department of Agrarian Reform announces housing projects for land reform beneficiaries. The NCAA shifts to an all-Filipino league prohibiting foreign student players starting 2020. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
Trabaho ba kamo? Madami niyan. Sa Build, 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 maraming jobs, jobs, jobs. Tara na sa Job Caravan on August 12 sa SMX Convention Center.
The Department of Agrarian Reform says beneficiaries of the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program are sure to receive housing from the government. DAR Secretary John Castricione says the agency's Farmers and Farm Workers Housing Program is part of President Rodrigo Duterte's directive to revive land reform. The on-site housing scheme includes home improvements on the existing houses of beneficiaries, while the off-site housing scheme will be built in subdivisions. The house units are two-bedroom duplex-type houses with a size of 37 square meters. Model houses have already been built in Nueva Vizcaya and Nueva Ecija for beneficiaries to choose from. In sports, the Philippine Basketball Association or BBA has approved a one-on-one swap involving Barangay Ginebra and Global Port Batang Pier. PBA Commissioner Willie Marshall approved the swap where Ginebra took the services of Julian Sargent in exchange for Paulo Taha. Sargent, who only posted 2.3 points and 1.7 rebounds in 9.6 minutes per game so far this season, found himself in the latter's starting lineup quickly. On the other hand, Taha will find himself back with the team that drafted him in 2014 after getting only limited playing time for a deep Ginebra guard rotation. The trade was approved before the two teams swing to action at the Smart Araneta Coliseum in Quezon City tonight. The Batang Pier took on the Phoenix Fuel Masters, who struck a separate deal with the barangay, leading to Jeff Chan joining the latter. Meanwhile, Ginebra would debut Chan in the main game against Colombian. Meanwhile, the National Collegiate Athletic Association is making its roster all-Filipino starting 2020. This means the league will no longer let foreign student athletes to play in the league. Management Committee Chairman Frank Busi says the NCAA decided this year to allow all foreign athletes to see action only until season 95 or next year. This comes even if some players like San Beda's Eugene Toba, St. Benilde's Clement Liu Chiu, and Emilio Aguinaldo College's Hamadou Laminu will still be eligible to play by season 96. The trend of recruiting foreign players for men's basketball contests in the college ranks started in the NCAA when the Red Lions brought in Sam Equi. As Davao del Norte celebrates its 51st founding anniversary, outdoor sports enthusiasts are set to gather for the second installment of the province's Musaman Triathlon. More on this from Maricor Zapata.
All roads lead to Davao del Norte for the National Musaman 2018 Standard Distance Triathlon, top billing this year's celebration of the province's 51st founding anniversary. Encouraged by the favorable feedback on its inaugural race last year, the organizers are leaving no stones unturned in prepping up for the triathlon to be held on June 24. Over 400 triathletes are expected to join the 1.5-kilometer swim, 40-kilometer bike, and 10-kilometer run endurance challenge, all aimed at espousing a healthier lifestyle while promoting Davao del Norte's tourism sites. The swim will start at the shoreline of the Banana Beach Iho Resorts, after which the athletes shall pedal through the Iho Resorts Road, Surigao-Davao Coastal Road, Pan-Philippines Highway in Tagum City. The participants finally shall navigate the Capitol Road and adjoining major thoroughfares in the city for the running stage, then finally crossing the finish line at the Davao del Norte Sports and Tourism Complex. Cash prizes await the winners of this year's multi-stage race. A specially designed handmade indigenous trophy is ready for the taking by the top 3 winners in each category. Dubbed the Rising Davao del Norte Trophy, the token signifies the rich culture, diverse tribes, and traditions of Davao del Norte from island to highland. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's top stories. No nationwide martial law. That's Malacanang's assurance after President Rodrigo Duterte ordered the police to go after tambays or late-night bystanders on streets. The Supreme Court dismisses the PCGG's petition to claim damages against the Marcos family and its cronies. Malacanang orders the gathering of possible evidence on the billion-peso barangay health station anomaly, and the NCAA shifts to an all-Filipino league prohibiting foreign student players starting 2020. And thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And as the week goes into high gear, remember not to rush into things. Slow is smooth, and smooth is definitely gonna be fast. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I'm William Theo. Good day.